Greetings. You're listening to the official Flourish Media podcast with Flourish Media founders Vivian and Dr. Tracy Timberlake. Listen in for marketing training and development tips from two ladies called the leaders in luxury learning. Get the tea on building a scalable, investor-ready business from the world's most accessible, women-focused business funding organization.
Hello, tribe, and welcome to the Flourish Media podcast. Today, we're talking about financials Unveiled, and this is being able to have an impact with your financial documentation, which happens to be one of the most difficult parts of sharing and scaling a business when it comes to third-party investment for women.
It's also not the fun part.
God, it's not.
Well,
it's really not.
For us. It's the fun part of what we get to do is talk to people, help them raise the money, help them get the money, be in and out and be fluid amongst the world, be in the streets. Trying to gather together all these financial documents is really not the fun part of running a business, but it is necessary. It is necessary both if you're looking for investment funding and if you're not, because you really want to have these down. We have a lot of vocabulary words that we're going to cover again today.
Yes, and so to follow along with this, you can look into the show notes. We have it right down below, so you can check that out. And I must say that this whole thing came about because of you, because of our tribe. You have been really instrumental in how we build out the curriculum, if it were, for Behind the Leaf and the things that we talk about. And anytime that we find there's a very obvious glaring challenge, that's the exact thing that we try and focus on for the tribe as a whole. Shout out to Anna Santos, who's been our accountant since the beginning of Behind the Leaf. And she's always been very helpful in making sure that we don't have to think about these things. But we find as you are building your business and you're scaling your business, honestly, having a professional help you makes all the difference.
It's true. And if you're wanting to get meetings with investors, they're going to ask for it anyway. So you might want to think about getting it together.
Yes, think about getting it together. And so also shout out to Commissioner Eileen Higgins in District 5, who is the district where Flourish Media is physically located in Miami, Florida. She put her pandemic monies from the federal government into a program called Scale Up D5. And so that Scale Up D5 program provides women all businesses, but for us, we focus, we're women focused and men friendly over here. And so they help businesses to be able to learn all of these ins and outs of your business so that you can scale. And we like to say so that you can flourish.
Yes. Okay. Do you want to get into the vocabulary words?
Oh, yes.
So that we know what they are?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put my glasses on because...
You want me to read them?
Oh, yes.
Yes, I can read our vocabulary words for the day. Okay. All right, here we go. Understanding these specific finance accounting terms. Let's start with financial statements. So tell them what that is?
Yeah, so your financial statement is the overall, this is like the review of your business. It has how much money you've made, how much money you're spending, and it gives a good sense for an investor to know what's the profitability of the business.
Yes, and then we have income statements, and it's pretty self-explanatory, right? It summarizes what your revenues are. Profits and expenses are on there as well, but really you want to know what you're actually bringing into the business, and those can be quarterly or annually. Then we have your balance sheet.
Yeah, so your balance sheet compares what you spend in your business according to what brings in so that you know what is actually it's not the cash flow statement, but it's very similar. So it depends on how they're doing the accounting, but it gives you an actual number to say this is the profit in the business.
Then you have cash flow statement, which tracks the cash inflow and outflow, obviously, because you kind of need to know what you're spending and how you're spending it. Then you have gross profit. This is the difference between revenue, cost of goods sold. That's all the money that's coming in. That's your gross profit. All the money that's coming in is gross profit. And then you have net profit. So what's net profit?
Net profit is how much money is left over after you pay for all of your expenditures. So you can hear, and we've all heard of people who are making millions of dollars in their business, and yet they're in bankruptcy. Well, it's because they made a lot of money, but their net is super low. They don't have enough net profit to pay off all of the loans and debt that they develop in the business.
Their operational costs.
Yeah.
And then this is EBITDA. This is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. That's what EBITDA stands for. It's a measure of companies' operating performance excluding the interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. So this is really for businesses that have equipment, because that equipment gets amortized, and it's counted as an asset or a liability, depending on what it is. But because there's amortization, usually you're going to use some sort of EBITDA accounting practice to kind of get that statement down.
And I do want to add that your investment banks, when you're looking, because this is also another opportunity to get funding, investment banks look at the EBITDA in order to decide whether or not they're going to invest with you. So get comfortable with that term.
Yeah. Burn rate, we talked about this in a previous episode.
Yeah, so your burn rate is how much money you have in the bank, your cash flow to keep the business open based on how much money you have in the account.
Right. Then you have runway. This is the length of time a company can operate with its current cash reserves, right? I have $500,000 in the bank. I'm not making any money. My burn rate is, let's say, $100,000 a month. If you have $500,000 in the bank, $100,000 of a burn rate, you have 5 months worth of operational expenses that you have. That's your runway, 5 months of a runway. Then you have capital expenditure, funds spent by a company to acquire, upgrade, or maintain physical assets, such as property, buildings, or equipment. Accounts receivable. Do you want to talk about that?
Accounts receivable is how much money is coming in. Maybe you have closed a deal. A lot of companies that have government contracts have this issue where you have a big deal. You might have 6 figures plus coming in, but they're going to pay it 90 days out, 60 days out. So you have no money today, but in 90 days you'll have
money, right? Right. And then accounts payable.
This is how much money you owe. So the same way. So you might have a bill that's due in 30 days, 60 days, 180 days from now. And so that would be on that form.
Working capital, which is the difference between a company's current assets and current liabilities over short-term obligations. Return on investment, what's that?
Return on investment means that when you are spending money, this is going to give you an X number of returns. So this is a term that they're going to say a lot within the nature of the Flourish Media Conference, because you're asking for investment dollars and they want to know, well, if I give you $100,000, if I give you $1 million, if I give you $5 million, what is my return on investment? And for a lot of investors, they're looking for any number of percentage, but think of it as like 3 times. Really, VCs look for like 10x investment. That's when you become a unicorn. like what happened with PayPal and what happened with Facebook. So I gave X number of dollars and now I'm a billionaire.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Cash conversion cycle. This is how long it takes for a company to convert those investments into cash flow from sales. So for example, let's say you're running Facebook ads. You need to invest $100,000 in Facebook ads. Well, how long is it going to take for you to get that $100,000 back, and on top of that, the ROI? So that's your cash conversion cycle. Equity.
Equity is the ownership inside the business. And so if you are building a business and you don't have a lot of cash flow, you may trade equity to an investor so that they can give you money. So you'll say, my business is worth $100,000. I'll give you 50% of my business for $50,000. And so that's bad math. Don't give people 50% of your business.
Right.
I'm just doing that for easy math.
Right. Debt to equity ratio. If you've ever purchased a house, you know what this is. A financial ratio that compares a company's total debt to its total equity, indicating the proportion of debt used to finance operations. Valuation.
Valuation is how much is your company worth. So when you take in the gross income of the business, all of the different assets that you have, the equipment that you purchase, accounts payable, and all of the things, everything together, how much is the business worth?
Yes. And then we have free cash flow. This is cash generated by a business after accounting for capital expenditures, provides insight into ability to invest, pay debts, and distribute dividends. So what is available to do all of those things? And then liquidity, last word here, is the ease with which an asset can be converted into cash. And that often indicates a company's ability to meet short-term obligations.
Yeah, so we had the honor, Flourish Media was recognized for producing the Reinvent Yourself with Crypto in Miami, Florida. It's actually one of the best events for the whole year, which is really exciting. And so when we produced that event, there were a lot of crypto billionaires. And so we talk about liquidity. That is something that they really struggle with, because you have to turn that cryptocurrency into dollars so that it can be spent to purchase regular things. And so for you, as you're building your business and you've made different types of investments, I hope that you'll include that in your presentation, because it is very attractive for an investor to know the confidence that you have in your business. And if you'll take the time to invest a large large portion of money or in equipment or people or staffing, for them to know that you believe in the brand and you would do this helps them to understand how they should also trust in your business and do the same.
Right. And all the things that we talked about, I mean, obviously it's industry dependent. Some industries won't necessarily require high levels of liquidity. Some industries won't really use EBITDA to in their accounting, but you kind of want to know where you are, because when the investors begin to ask the questions, or the investors might request the information from you. So in our 5-minute presentation at the conference, you're probably not going to go through all of those different things. There's no way. But in the conversations that you're having with the investors, they may ask you, what accounting practices do you use? Do you have a profit loss statement? What's your debt to income ratio? How is your EBITDA calculated? All of those things. Do you have equipment that can be liquid? How liquid is the company? So all of these things are questions that our pitchers have been asked in the past, and we just don't want you cost slipping.
Yeah. You don't want to slip.
Yeah, don't be slipping.
Don't be slipping. So,
know this.
So sis, as you are putting together your executive summary, especially if you are pitching, these are some things you want to be mindful of. Again, we're not going to ask you for any of this material to be
for us.
This is not for us. Yeah. We don't need to see it. We're this is for your information so that you can have deep and meaningful conversations with the investors who are there in the room. And we hope that this is helpful to you. If you're feeling squeamish, same. Like we said, this is an area when it comes to women business owners in general that is a challenge. Right. And that's why when we designed the master classes for Behind the Leaf throughout the year in partnership with Capital One, we have an entire master classes just on accounting so that you can talk to the professionals, not us. Don't ask us because we don't do it. Okay, don't ask us.
I cannot prepare that EBITDA document for you. I will be like, I don't know.
That's why we have a board of directors and we elevate people within the tribe who can offer their areas of expertise to help us all flourish together.
Yes.
So if you're enjoying this, you can find out more at flourishmediaconference.com so you can attend the conference here in Miami, Florida. It's in every single February. This is our 8th conference here in this area. And you can stay connected by joining our free private Facebook group or following us on social media. We are at Flourish Media Co. on all the things.
Yes. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Behind the Leaf. Never miss an episode, and subscribe to the official Flourish Media podcast on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for listening. If this podcast sparked your curiosity or made you think of a fellow creative who could really use these gems, share it and help them flourish too.